This meeting is being recorded.
Our meeting is being recorded. Great. Okay. So I see Wyandotte Camera Club down there. Is that you, Travis?
Yep, that's me.
Okay. All righty. So anyway, Travis was telling us earlier he might have us a judge for February. So anyway, we're gonna kind of pursue that angle and see if we come up with somebody to judge February. And while we're getting started here, I was gonna see if we had any old business we need to bring up again. Going once, going twice.
I might mention, Calvin, I think all our dues are paid currently,
Okay.
so
Great.
there's a couple of gals that, but I don't expect Linda and
And
yeah.
yeah, I don't think they're going to come back in here right now anyway. So yeah, I appreciate that, Bill. Because I'm gonna actually what I want to do, I want to I'll finalize up the membership list and I'll send it over to you and make sure that I'm correct on everything. And then then we'll send it out to everybody. Oh, the only one I don't have information on is okay, I gotta look at this because I always get the name backwards. Is Roberto. I don't have his address, or I got his email, but don't have his information. I'll send it over to you. See, maybe we can get that filled in.
It should be on that list that I sent you back in October.
Okay, I'll go back and look. Maybe I missed, I still got the email you sent me back in October.
Yeah.
I need to take another look at it.
Yeah, this was I generated on the 4th, so I don't know if
Okay.
you got it on the 4th or the 5th or whatever, but it's
Sure. Okay.
early October.
All righty. If I'm missing, I'll get a hold of you and let you know. Any other old business? Okay, I'm gonna go on to new business. Anybody have any show or exhibits that they want to mention? Nope. Okay, and one other thing, Bill Stodmeyer and I were talking. I want to see what you all thought about setting up just a business meeting just with the club members. Here sometime we could do it in an afternoon, we could do it in an evening, whenever you guys want to, but to discuss which way the club's going to go here going forward. I let it out of the bag last well, I don't know if it was last meeting or the one before that, but I'm not going to come back as president again. I'll come back and be a member, but I've got so many things going on right now or coming up that I'm not going to have time to sit and devote to it. And so, you know, I'll throw the ball out there. If somebody wants to take it up and run with it, I will help you any way I can. But coming into this year, I'm gonna take a back seat, and that back seat's probably going to last for a long time because once I get started on some of this other stuff, I'm not going to have enough free time to devote to everything I need to do. It's not that organizing all this takes a massive amount of time. It just takes a lot of organization and just making sure that you've got all your ducks in a row so that way the meetings happen, the judges happen, and everything comes together. That's really it. And believe you me, I've done 99% of organizing all these meetings from this chair I'm sitting in. And it doesn't take a long time, but it does need someone to organize it and stay on top of it. So what would you all think about having a business meeting here at some point to go over, say, some future ideas for the club? Anybody?
Yeah, just let us know, Calvin.
Okay. Is there a particular time of or day of the week or time of the day that is inconvenient for anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I work, obviously.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
7 to 5, somewhere that wouldn't be good for me. So we
Okay.
have to do it in the evening or
Okay.
weekend or something.
Okay. Well, I'll throw out some ideas here and pass them around, and we'll see what we get, and maybe set up another Zoom meeting where we can all just sit down and talk about it and go over some ideas and see where we go from there. And let's see. I got one thing I was going to announce to anybody. This is really out in left field. I am a type 2 diabetic, and I use a lot of diabetic supplies. And my pharmacy screwed up. They were supposed to give me a box of these little short needles that you use on these little pins, little quick pins, because I have to give myself insulin shots every day. I went over one time and they gave me a box of them. I thought it was a box of them. What they gave me was a box of 100 actual syringes with needles. They're all sterile. They're in the box. Anybody know anyone that can use them? Because I'm gonna take them down and to the drug take back thing and have them destroyed. I can't find anybody who wants them. I'm not gonna. Nobody.
Well, we have to give our dog allergy shots, and we have to buy the syringes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, how long is the needle?
Don't remember.
I mean,
I can get that. I can get the information. I can send it to you. They're all, like I say, they're all brand new. They're sterile.
yeah. I just had to buy some. They get a
Those things.
shot once a month, but that I could use them probably.
Okay, well, I'll get you information on those syringes and send it over to you. If you can use them, great. I'll give them to you because they've already credit. I can't take them back because they actually left the building and I might have contaminated them.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
So anyway,
okay.
All right. My other note was Todd was going to fill in for Julie, but her meeting got canceled at the last minute, so she's going to be judging for us. And so let's see. Other than that, that's all I got as far as club business. If nobody else has anything, I'm going to turn it over to Julie. Julie, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I definitely wanted to tell you guys I love judging for you guys. I just admire so much that you guys are, you're always, making great work, and you're and it's just great that you've got this community where you're, meeting up and every month. And I don't know, I just think it's so great. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, if that's okay.
Sure.
I hope this works. Here we go. I think this is going to be okay. Let's make it. Hang on one second. Sorry, I've got to do a password thing.
Okay.
Okay. I might have to leave the meeting and come right back. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
That's right. I'll be right back too, folks. I'm going to go give me a little refreshment.
James, did you just get to feeling bad today, or have you been finding?
Yeah, it's just kind of a little stomach bug and, that Pepto-Bismol type stuff.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I ate some old chicken this afternoon, and I don't know if that's maybe earlier today maybe that's what did it.
Yeah, let's hope it's,
Can't tell.
yeah, let's hope it's just temporary.
How many people do we have in the club?
Okay, I'm going to try this again. I apologize. Okay, I'm going to try to share my screen and photo mechanic share. Okay, hopefully that worked this time.
Yeah.
They made me update I hate that. I should have practiced. I should have practiced with Todd. Okay, so I am going to open up Photo Mechanic here. Okay, the first, well, first of all, I love this category because I really like antiques and I like old things. So I was super excited to judge this. And I thought you guys did a really fun job. So this first one I thought was super fun. I thought, if I wanted to be picky, I'd say that it could have probably benefited a little bit from a little bit smaller depth of field, but
I don't know how I'm doing it.
I like the solution that you've come up with.
Anyway, I brought you a knife straight for that.
Hey,
Um,
Julie,
Yeah, can you hear
is there
me?
any way to enlarge these? They're just thumbnails on our,
Are they really? Okay, hang
Yeah.
on. Let's see. Let me see. Is that better? A little bit?
I don't know, on my screen, they're only about
The
2 by
thumbnails,
2.5 inches or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thumbnail images.
Let me see. Let me try a different one. Okay, so I'm gonna quit out of
How about if
this.
you open that magnifying glass? Will that do anything? You were right, you were kind of hovering over there a second ago. Back to the right. Right, go down, right there. Well, that,
Oh, that's info. That's the metadata. Hang on. What I can do is I can quit out of this and then I can just go straight up to is that better? Oh wait, hang on, sorry. I gotta go back to this. Now Todd, this is where Todd would really shine. He's an expert with Zoom. You'll have to bear with me
Yeah.
for a moment. So I've got him in preview now, and I'm going to try it here. Now, is that any better for everyone?
There you
that's
go.
it, yep.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So, so anyway, like I said, I really like, I thought this was super fun. And I like the solution that the photographers come up with. Normally I would say, you've got to, but mostly it's like, it's nice, pretty nice, pretty clean. But if I were being finicky, I'd say, maybe you could do a little bit shallower depth of field, but I think the solution is super fun. The vignetting definitely draws your attention to the subject of the photo. For the most part, it's a pretty clean photo. But I love this old bike and it's nice contrast. Yeah, I think this is like kind of a nice solution for just kind of drawing your attention. It's almost like it's like a spotlight. So hopefully that was like the effect you were looking for.
It was a
Oh, yeah, let me hear
advertisement.
it.
Okay, I'll just explain a little bit. It was an advertisement for an antique store just down the street that was at an intersection in St. Louis, down on Broadway, close to the Anheuser-Busch area. And there's a lot of little antique and boutique stores down there. So that's what this was for, was an advertisement for their antique store.
That's awesome. Did you guys like this category? I hope you did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like the idea on this one here where they had to chain that old bicycle to the telephone pole to keep somebody from stealing.
Well, in these days, it might get stolen. Who knows?
Right.
They'd have a hard time, with the getaway, with the flat tire and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
I love the flames the flames on the bike. It's got some nice details on the old veteran.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we've got this model pickup. I think this I think this is a perfect subject for So like a great job picking out like the subject. I couldn't think of a better way of like, defining junk as like, an old beat up truck in the middle of an old field. So it does look like the photo I don't know what time of day it was, but it looks like it might have been midday. I'm just super curious, like what it might look like, different time of day, maybe, late afternoon or early morning, or maybe like, lit up with a flashlight or, flash. I think I really like the subject. The subject's just like, it's, really, really exciting. I really enjoy it. And I love, the weeds in the front, in the foreground. I think a little different time of day might like really make it pop, but yeah, I think this is really great. Do you have, does Calvin have anything to say?
Yeah,
About,
this was a, get it or forget it type of shot, because this was actually up in the mountains out in North Carolina back in 2019. I went out there last, and my sister was driving, and I saw this thing. We got close to it. I said, "Whoa, stop!" That's why I got to photograph this thing. And she thought I was photographing something else, but she said, "You shooting that old truck?" I said, "Yeah, that old truck." So yeah, and going up there at a different time of day was not going to happen for us, unfortunately, because yeah, I would like to have done this at a couple of different times of day to see what happens, but it is what it is. But do you know why that grill is so shiny?
No.
It's plated with nickel.
Oh.
Before, what was it? Before 1958, all what we call chrome today was all nickel plated. Nickel does not rust, deteriorate, or oxidize. It stays shiny like the day they put it on there.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you just have to like grab the shot when you have the chance.
Yeah.
So congratulations for grabbing it, because I really love it. It's very fun.
I had to look it up. That's I think it was a 1930 Model A Ford F100.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's what you said in your caption. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love this, that it's still loaded up with wood.
It's still loaded up with junk. So
so it's like junk on top of junk on top of junk.
And it's been there for a while.
Okay, so our next one is looks like this definitely like fills the bill. Lots of junk in this photo. I do kind of wonder like what you're trying to focus on. Is it the grinding wheel, or is it the spoked wheel behind it? Is it the kind of piles of junk behind it? It does seem like there's kind of a lot going on in the photo. I mean, I'm kind of assuming that it's the grinding wheel, but because there's kind of so much going on, and there's not a real focal point. I mean, you're definitely following rules of thirds. I mean, if the grind, well, and both, with the grinding wheel and the spoked wheel. But I would kind of like to see like some sort of like, I kind of feel like with a photograph, you really want your eye to be directed towards something. And I'm kind of looking for where you want my eye to go. So, I don't know if Gary might want to talk about like kind of what his idea was with this photo.
I was just looking at it from a standpoint of a pile of junk. I didn't have one specific thing in mind, which probably would have been an improvement for sure. But
well, it's definitely a pile of junk. You've totally captured that. Where were you?
That's in the west bottoms of Kansas City, down where they have some antique junk stores down in that area.
And what time of day was it?
I believe it's probably in the early afternoon. It's been full sun there, so I thought it had some good contrast mixed up in there.
What kind of light do you look for when you're heading out to take pictures? Do you think about light, or do you think about your subject, or do you think about like what are you kind of looking to find?
Well, I don't have much luck on an overcast day, so I look for full sunlight to do a little photography. And I guess it's this particular thing is in a area where there's some buildings. It's up against a building that's several stories high. So and there's of course buildings across the street. So so late in the day or something, it could possibly be a problem, or something like that too, with casting a shadow on the whole scene. So I was probably closer to 1 or 2 o'clock.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Well, very cool, very cool. So we've got this Dodge, a Dodge bus, which has so many great graphic lines. I like the way the light is, kind of hitting the grill, and it looks, you've got nice graphic lines. You've got, it's a nice, interesting, tight shot. You really kind of have a sense of, or at least I know exactly what you're taking a picture of. You're very direct, and I like how the lines kind of lead you, to the chrome at the heart of the image. You've got this like nice, although it's probably nickel plated now that I think about it. I don't know.
Yep.
Calvin would probably be able to tell me.
That's nickel plated.
But it's so gorgeous. And I like the way the light is really, creating this great contrast, in the lines, so you have this negative space that's sort of leading you into like this gorgeous, like chrome. Maybe it's a star, but it's like right in the center of the picture, and everything is leading you to this point. And yet it's abstract, but you know what it is. It's a grill of a, it's a grill of something, but I wouldn't have known it was the grill of a bus, except James was kind enough to say what it was. But great contrast and nice light that really, I think I mentioned this before, it accentuates the shadows. So nice light, nice shadows, nice detail, good. In this case, I like the way you've used kind of a wider depth of field that kind of really allows you to kind of dig in to, this beautiful thing, this beautiful piece of metal. And anyway, James, do you have anything to say for yourself?
I find myself at times, gravitating more to a more graphic image. And especially when I go out and then looking at old vehicles or whatever, that I end up trying to find, instead of shooting the whole vehicle, trying to find portions of it that seem to, create an image that is really narrowing your view down. onto that subject matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really nice. I mean, it's well seen.
James, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Was this a restored bus in a museum or something like that? Because I'm looking at paint.
It's in the Smithsonian.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
so
one.
You have to give some of the lighting credit to the museum people.
Sure.
But I did have to manipulate, some things, dodging and burning and so forth to try to get it to where there's some modeling to it. Otherwise, it could read really flat in the original image.
Sure. I'll tell you one thing you managed to keep out of that reflection
Is me?
Is you. Yeah. Because of the way it's angled, if you were off to one side or another, we would probably
I got down on the floor.
Nice.
I got down on the floor and used a long lens.
Okay.
So I was away from this thing about, maybe 15, 20 feet.
Okay.
A few people stepped over me, but not bad.
Yeah.
At least they didn't step on you.
Right.
or kick you out of the way, That's a great shot.
Yeah. Well, then it's nice. I mean, you did make they probably helped you out with the lighting, but you did make this decision of what to put in your frame. And that's always so important. Like, you were in charge of rectangular space. Every inch you have to make that decision. What's in, what's out. And you've done a good job here.
Thank you.
Okay, so off to our next one. Stairway to Hell. It definitely looks like a difficult place. I would not be wanting to walk up or down that place. I really like the crusty paint and the rust in the image. There's nice contrast. It's definitely fits the bill for junk. It's nice, nice lines. But I kind of feel like in some ways, I mean, as much as I like the subject, I kind of feel like maybe you're trying to do too much here. And I am not sure I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to focus my attention. I know it's like the stairway to hell, but I'm just kind of wondering where I'm supposed to look first. And it's always kind of nice to have a line that leads your eye to like something, especially when you're trying to do something graphic. Todd is like so good at this. I'm so bad at this, but sometimes like a lower angle, maybe leading up the stairs, or if this is indeed the stairway to hell, maybe down the stairs, trying to get some sort of, sort of line that comes down like across your rectangle. In this case, we've got more of a square. Or maybe you want to focus, instead of focusing on the stairway, maybe you want to focus on the bricks. But I love the subject. I mean, it's really awesome. Bill, do you have what do you have to say for the about your photo? What was your adventure like?
The location is an abandoned building on the northwest side of the bottom of the 12th Street Bridge. You go back up the road instead of turning left or right, and you follow it up there, and it's on. It's in the next area, the next intersection. It has a bridge off to the left, and you go out, back there a little ways, and there's this huge abandoned building, and this is on the front side of it, I guess. So it's kind of spooky back there. There's no way to get out of there except one entrance and one exit. So anyway, but the whole building is graffitied up and it's rusted up and it's abandoned. There's openings where somebody could go in the building, but it's pitch black. So and there's no way to get up the stairwell. So you have to shoot it from the outside. So
It definitely looks pretty dodgy. I think
Yeah,
probably
it's
don't
like-
follow my advice. Don't go up those stairs.
so, but yeah,
That's very cool. Yeah, the West Bottoms has lots of cool, like,
it
you know,
does.
derelict buildings.
It does.
Very cool. What time of day was it?
I want to say it was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that.
And did you guys shoot most of these over the summer, or did you, I mean, kind of with it, anticipating, you know, your subjects, or do you guys generally get the subjects and then, you know, maybe every month, and do you guys go out as soon as you get the subject?
That's the way it's supposed to work, but rarely does it ever work that way for me. I just shoot stuff when I'm out there. So
Very cool. I love this. I do love this stairway.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Julie,
Yes.
each year, before we close out each year, we come up with our assigned subjects for the following year. And we come up with a brief description, and that's when we give them. So, you know, so that way everybody has an advance notice. Okay, here's what's going to be due, you know, September through May. And that's how we come up with our list of subjects. We'll kind of throw out a bunch of ideas, and we'll sit and vote on them and whittle them down till we get 9 subjects. And that's where we go from. I only had one question, Bill, on this print here you did. Did you try flipping it 180 degrees where the staircase angled the opposite direction?
no,
I'm just kind of curious what that would look like. I don't know. I like that. I like those little stairs, but I'm just curious if you flipped it or reversed it, you know, what it would look like. If it would have the same impact, or if it would change the impact without any. Just a thought.
I like all the diagonals in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do too.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if he turned it 180 degrees where the diagonals are going the opposite direction, if that would change the impact of it or have any effect
I
on it
think
at all.
I think that this is the way you need to look at it. If your eye usually leads in from the left, then you're
Right.
drawn up, and then when you hit the landing, then you're drawn back down with that little diagonal there and the underneath side of the stair, and then you just do that rotation clockwise throughout the thing. And that's where, you know, I like that kind of composition where you don't lead in and lead out, you know. that you-
Right, because he's got that little piece there at the bottom on the right side that forms a little triangle. Plus, you've got the
Yeah.
angle of the side of the rail going up. They all meet right there at that one point. So that's when I was looking at this. That's kind of where I was going. I was going right up there to that where all this intersection, where all this meets. I'm like, that's an interesting photo, Bill.
thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now we've gone to our next one. So I love the sky. Sky is very dramatic. And you've got really nice contrast here. And it's a funny joke. I mean, it's, you know, the Cars, I guess it's the original Cars cartoon. I mean, it's funny. It's definitely funny. It seems like your light seems pretty nice. At least the tones like read really nicely. And I kind of feel like in some ways like that, you know, this is someone else's joke and you haven't been super creative. I mean, I definitely think it's nicely seen, but I wonder if kind of getting a little bit more creative, like you've started out with a great subject trying to get different angles on it, maybe trying to focus on one of the cars or, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a funny photo. And I think it's hilarious that someone's done this with some junked up old cars. I guess it's, it looks like it's a fire engine and a couple trucks. It looks like but it's super funny. And so I would almost suggest that you take the joke a bit farther and kind of make that joke your own. But generally, I think it's it's funny, and it's a nice little well-seen little scene. So somebody definitely had a lot of fun with this. Dennis, where are
He's
you,
working
Dennis?
tonight. He's
Oh,
working
Dennis.
this evening.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to miss Dennis. But does anyone else have any comments they'd like to add?
I'm wondering if he just zoomed or if he just cropped into that truck in the middle with the two buck teeth, if that would make a better image without the other two. I don't know. I would have played with this 6 ways of Sunday. I do. I like his photo.
Yeah.
I get the gist of it, but I'm just wondering if you take some of that information out and cropped in on, focused in on one of them, what if that would make a bigger impact on that image or not.
Yeah, I agree. I think the car in the middle has the most character, and you could probably play around with that one quite a bit. But generally, I mean, I think it's funny, and I wouldn't have driven by that scene without taking a picture. So,
Oh, definitely.
anyone else? Okay, let's see. Oh, onto the Victrola. So I think you've got some nice strong contrast in the photo. I'd almost like to see if you might be able to explore it a little bit more. I wonder, there's lots of things you can try to do. I'm trying to imagine getting my camera in there to get a lower angle sort of the record while it's moving with, the arm and the needle going on it. I'm thinking the space is way too small, but I kind of would like to see something a little bit, a little more fun with this, because it's definitely seems like it's a fun subject that you could maybe play a little bit more with. But I don't know, I'm curious to see what Bill has to say. Like, what kind of other things did you try?
Well, I tried it from a couple of angles and I didn't like it. So,
Uh-huh.
but what this is you've probably never seen one. It's an electric Victrola.
An electric Victrola.
Yeah, it actually has an amplifier that's feels like a couple of cement blocks if you take it out. And I've been trying to get it to run. But anyway, tubes light up, and that's why the arm on that thing is so big. But, yeah, I thought about it later. It might have worked if I just had the record spinning. So, I don't know.
Do you really think it's junk, though?
Well, it's probably not junk. But the question is you'd have to find somebody that was interested in buying it.
True.
Yeah. What kind of light do you have on that, Bill?
Just a lamp on the side.
Okay. It's right down there in the lower left. Or, if there's any way you could have brought that light down just a little bit, because it kind of starts to blow out right there next to the record. We're on the opposite side, up in the upper right, and at the top, you got beautiful detail in the wood, because of the lighting up there is more subtle. I'm just wondering, if there's a way you're gonna brought that light down just a little bit more in that lower left corner.
Yeah, I probably should. If I were doing it again, I'd light it differently.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's in a box type of
Sure.
chair. So,
Is this down in your basement?
oh, this is actually one of the upstairs bedrooms.
Oh, okay. I was trying to read the label on our album too. I couldn't read it.
I think it's a classic one. Let's see.
Okay.
I'm trying to see with a magnifying glass and I can't read. Now we got this came from Colorado.
Okay.
My mother-in-law's aunt had this. This is a huge piece of furniture. It's not just a small piece. It's got, but it's also got storage on either side. We got a whole bunch of records with it, but most of them are classical.
I do like Calvin's idea, like kind of playing around with, your lighting a little bit. Another thing you could maybe try to do is like maybe a flashlight, kind of like a longer exposure, maybe try to, kind of explore the space with, with a light sort of kind of with a longer shutter speed, like maybe put it on bulb and kind of try to play around with it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool photograph. It's for sure. It's very cool.
Yeah, you look at the back, there up there behind the Victrola arm, or I guess whatever we call it, but you can see the reflection, see the subtle reflections in that wood of those parts, and also the little medallion there on the surface, and that shows up in that back wood. Really cool. I really like that.
Very cool.
What is she cropped? A third of the left and a third of the bottom. And the, right,
Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like
right-hand
that
side
light.
label.
It does feel like that that top is really like distracting. The light, the really bright area on the hinge. The hinge is very shiny, so it's reflecting a lot of light. And yeah, without that,
If you crop it down,
I think that would help a lot.
Mhm.
Sorry, I realized I'm covering up my camera. But yeah, I think that works a lot better.
Okay, well, I might try a few more shots.
But nice. I think it's definitely a fun photo. How do you guys prefer it? Should I wait until the very end or should we talk about like what first, second, third, and honorable mention right now?
You can do it if you want on this category, if you like.
Okay, so this was our final image. And first place, I definitely think James really did a nice job on this one. Of course I wouldn't call it junk, but it's a beautiful picture or a beautiful image. So first place goes to James. I should have done this the opposite, but so forgive me.
Sorry.
Second place goes to the bike. That would be
Tom Woodbush.
Okay. How do you pronounce that?
Wedbush,
Twedbush. Thank you.
Wed. It's Tom Wedbush.
Oh, Tom Wedbush.
Yeah,
Sorry, all I have is T Wedbush.
that's okay. No problem.
So second place, and then third place to Calvin with his truck in the field. A nice little find on a road trip. And then honorable mention goes to the Cars, the original Cars, which is Dennis Lindell's, who unfortunately is not here to accept his award. Oops. Okay. Can everyone see the pictures?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I see the
The cars.
3 trucks.
Oh, okay. Let me get rid of that one then. Oh, did I do that wrong? I might need to share my screen again. I don't know why it's acting so funky. There we go. All right. Now we're back in business, I think.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, so our first photo, I think another strong choice for the open category. We've got there's very little doubt of what the photo's about. It's like nice strong contrast. You've got really nice light. I like how the arrow's nicely lit against a dark sky. The contrast is really bold. And I love the way, these light bulbs, like in this case, like you've got this nice depth of field that like really captures the details, but like leaves everything in the background. So it's nice, it's graphic, and I feel like every single inch of this rectangle, you own it. Is there anything James would like to say about this?
This is an arrow that's at the intersection of 24 and 40 at Lawrence, at where it splits off at the teepee, if anybody's familiar with
Yep.
Lawrence. And there's been several times that I've stopped at that place over the years that has had things there that has been interesting to photograph. Anyway,
Where's that at?
I at the teepee. I don't know how else. When you take 24 and 40 west to Lawrence, for those, I forget which way now. One goes, well, they both end up.
Oh, you broke up there.
Again, but one splits and goes down into Lawrence. I think 24 splits off to the north and goes.
Okay.
Anyway, the teepee there was put up in the 30s, and it was originally a gas station with a gift shop and also a tourist trap right there at the outskirts of Lawrence. And then an interesting thing is that various
You're breaking up pretty bad.
floods that came through the area, they mark the water levels on the side of the teepee. And when you sit there and you're standing next to it, and you're just going, geez, if the teepee still stands, and that was the color version, that arrow, that's what drew me to it in the first place.
What
Okay.
color is it?
Between the centers, the center of it is a various blues, and inside and then over the years the bulbs have been changed out from yellows and clears and just and soft whites type things, white bulbs, and it's just a conglomeration of stuff that intrigued me.
Yeah, it is definitely very fun. Very fun. Is Roberto here? Or is
No,
he?
I don't believe he's with us this evening.
Oh, okay. Um, well, um, this is another example of like, nice contrast, nice lines. I like the way the lines are shoot your eye up into the sky. It's a very dynamic angle. But yet it's a very natural angle from a human perspective, like looking up a building. It feels like it's Carvana, but I don't know. I don't know where we are here. Unfortunately, I don't think there's nothing on his caption to tell us where we are, but it's definitely very dynamic. I love it. I mean, this is like pure blacks, pure whites, and this, really deep blue sky. It feels like that's what it must have looked like. But nice light on the metal. So yeah, it's very graphic. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to add?
What's the title of that one?
Title is Building. Doesn't give us a lot of info.
No. I'm curious to what that building is.
Yeah, me too. Me too, for sure. It looks like, you've got these spotlights, so it feels like it must be something, a building that's trying to like highlight. That's why I thought maybe it was
Sure.
Carvana, but I don't think it's Carvana. But maybe it's a parking garage. I'm not sure. But it's definitely very dramatic. Well, too bad Roberto's not here to explain himself. All right. So here we go. Let's see. It's, a bridge is such a great subject to like explore composition, especially like an old bridge like this. And it's I like the cloud. You've got nice, wonderful clouds. You've got nice warm tones. I do find the grain in the photo just a little bit distracting. I don't know if you're using a sharpening filter, but I do like the lines of this image. Bill, do you
Yes,
want to tell us about your bridge?
it's just a railroad bridge in North Kansas City on the Missouri side. That was a silver, painted silver.
Painted silver.
It was
Wow.
painted silver.
Wow.
When did you shoot this? Was it over the summer or was it recently?
Yeah, I think last summer. Yeah, that's correct.
Mm-hmm. What kind of day was it?
Midday.
Mm-hmm. Do you like shooting like in the middle of the day?
No, I don't have a specific time, no, but that's what that happened to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2:00, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, I like the line. I like the lines a lot. And I love the rivets, these really, really nice rivets. And I mean, there's just a lot to kind of like, there's a lot going on in the photo. And it's definitely very graphic. What did you have in mind when you were photographing it?
Like you said, a graphic shot.
If what
Nice.
catches my eye on this is look at all the repetitive X's in this truss bridge. I mean, you've got them, they're everywhere. Every single truss is just loaded with them. So you've got this repetitive pattern, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really cool. And it's so funny, Calvin. I didn't even notice all the X's, but there they are.
They are
X's
all
within
over
X's.
They're all over this thing. Yeah. And yeah.
It's like one of those brain teasers says, how many X's can you find?
Yeah. Yeah. You can find a few of them in here. But when I looked at this, I found I'm looking at the individual trusses, then I'm going down that center line of the top of it, then I'm coming back those upright supports. I mean, it's just loaded with all those repetitive patterns. I love it. I love the way that comes out, Bill.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice, very graphic. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna move on if we're done. So this one is called Good to be the King, or King, excuse me, Good to be the King. Definitely is. It's a good, although it's definitely a good job if you can keep it. I love the lines. I think the lines are really great here. I like the way, everything leads you to the king. You've got like really shallow depth of field, and it's framed within, I'm not sure if it's a mirror, or I'm not sure what.
Yes,
But-
that's a mirror.
It's a mirror. Oh,
It is a
wow.
mirror. Yeah,
How did you keep out of the photo?
it was,
Long lens?
well, it was difficult. Yes. I shot and shot and shot and tried to get the right angle, and it took a while to set that thing up. And so, yeah, I had the king situated so that it was in focus, but the pawn was not. So,
How did you light it?
well, I'm trying to remember. I think I just had some LED lights that I had set up over the top, holding it in place with a little frame thing, little wooden thing I kind of made to shine down on it. So it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
They never are they?
No. I tried all sorts of different lenses to try to get this thing right. And I mean, the lens I ended up using was the one that I didn't think would work at all. So I had to use kind of a telephoto to do this. Anyway.
Very fun. Very fun. Yeah, it's nice contrast. It's nice. It's graphic. Definitely gets you exactly where your eye needs to be. Does anyone else have anything to mention?
Yeah, what caught my attention with this one, it's obvious. Yes, you can tell that's a mirror, but you've got the pawn just slightly out of focus, but you can tell that's the pawn in front of the mirror, and then the reflection in that mirror is the king. So that right there is a contrast in the two chess pieces. I like the way you set that up, Tom. That looks really good.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we'll move on. All right, so we've got a gas pump. It looks like very dramatic sky. There's really nice contrast. I like how you're contrasting this sort of light gas pump and with this dark building behind you. That's really nice. And I like how the the lights sort of are contrasted against the sky. So you've got kind of there's a lot going on in this picture, and you haven't used shallow depth of field or anything, but you've done a really good job of isolating each element pretty well in order to like kind of tell your eye where you're going to look. And there is a lot going on, but I definitely feel like I know that the your gas pump is sort of where you're wanting me to look. And like I said, it's a really nice dramatic sky. I think Dennis is not with us today.
No, he's not here.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah,
What's the title of that?
I think if you crop that in from the left-hand side I think it makes a stronger picture. I
Yeah.
think it's just kind of dead space on the left, but if you move it in, yeah, from the left-hand side, if you kind of crop in, it kind of pushes the pump and everything, the thirds. I think it makes it a little stronger. You don't lose anything in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Sky kind of brings your eye right down to almost the top of that building across the street. But anyway, that's my thought.
Bill, the title of this is Can Otex Gas Pump. Dennis Lindell.
Thank you.
Anyone else while we're on this one?
No, I guess what Tom's talking about. Go ahead.
I would like to see a little bit more light on the face of the pump somehow or another. Bring that up and maybe on that, just that side of the pump down, that strong bounce there from light to to dark to that mid-tone. If we can get that face a little bit brighter, and I think that would help some, for me anyway.
How would you have done that? Would you have used a reflector, or would you have like popped in a little bit of flash? Like how would you have accomplished that? Because I agree with you.
I'm not sure whether or not I would have thought of it in the field to flash it, but that would be, the gift solution. But in post-op, that in post processing, that you probably bring up, isolate the pump from the rest of the image and start to bring those shadows up a little bit, and then knock your highlights down, without flattening it out too much, because I think that the main focus is wanting you to look at that pump and almost trying to read the face.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you might have taken that shot from the opposite side, if you look at the shadows, he's kind of shooting into the dark side. And if he'd have gone on the other side of it, he'd have had the sun at his back and would have really lit that whole thing up. I don't know what was in the background though. Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't know.
Maybe it's too busy in the
what it went
background.
in again. Yeah.
No, those are good ideas. Those are good ideas. I would love to see his outtakes to see what kind of things he tried. Okay. If we're done with this one, we'll move on to the next. And oh my, I love a car with fins. This is open Rambler. I guess I shouldn't say open, it's Rambler. And the deep blacks are really nice. I think the contrast is really nice. I think the contrast is nice. I was going to say maybe a tiny bit more, but I think it's nice. It's, it does seem like it might be an overcast day. I'm not sure. But I wonder what like a little bit more dramatic light might do for it. Maybe trying a different angle. I don't know. But it's definitely very bold, and it's definitely it's you've definitely filled your frame. Bill, do you want to tell us about this photo?
Yeah, this was taken at a motel in Hayes, Kansas. We're coming back in June from Colorado, and we were packing up our bags to head to Colorado. This guy was, believe it or not, driving this thing across the country.
Wow.
And his license plate says Delaware, so he was headed home. And but anyway, that I couldn't believe. I've never seen a Rambler restored as nicely as this one.
What color was it? Was it black?
Black, yes.
Wow.
And if you look at the trunk, it was kind of overcast sky.
So this was another grab shot. This was like a once in a lifetime. You'll never see it again. You'll never have a chance to go back and shoot it from a different angle.
Well, I had to catch him before it drove off.
Absolutely. Well, you got to do that. You've got to do that. No,
Did you
this
notice
is
the dealer insignia on the back of that car? B&J
Baltimore.
Rambler from B&J Rambler from Baltimore, Maryland.
nice. Nice.
Something in the back window says House of Madness. I don't know what that
Yeah, I
is.
see that in the window too. I don't know what that is.
Did
Yeah.
you plan that? Did you plan to, I mean, or was this just kind of like, oh my gosh, I've got to shoot this?
Yeah, I did because like I said, I've never seen one that's restored like this. Usually they've rusted away completely. I asked him how much restoration he had to do. He just looked at me and said lots.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What year was it?
You know, I'm not sure. If anybody knows cars?
No, definitely a nice grab shot in a parking lot. Definitely nice.
You know, they had a lot of Finn back in the 50s, early 60s. So that might have been a 50s version. Travis, do you have any idea?
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah,
Tom.
I don't know. I can't tell. It's a 50s, I know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the fins.
Yeah.
Usually if you can see the grill, the front end of it, you can zero in on the year a little easier.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun. Definitely a fun one. I would have definitely tried to get a shot of that guy. That's very fun.
Did you notice the House of Madness is reflected in that trunk?
Well, it's definitely madness to like drive a car like that across the country, I think. But
I
you
don't
got to
even-
enjoy it, I guess.
I don't even trust my car going across.
Absolutely.
I think it's a 59 Rambler.
Good for you.
That's what it's looking like.
When did they go out of business? Or when did they become AMC?
Yeah.
I'm bad with years, so I don't remember.
I'm wondering if that license plate has anything to do with the car, because you see the 59, then you see a 6155. I don't know if that alludes to anything with the car itself.
Could be. I don't know. I was surprised it didn't have an antique license plate on
Yeah.
It's like 1969
Wow.
was the final year.
For Rambler. Yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
This doesn't look like a 69 though. I think you're right.
No.
I think it's the late 50s or something.
Yeah. At least.
It's a good looking car. All right. Are we done rambling?
Ramble on.
All right. Here we go. This is another Roberto Carlos. Or is it Carlos Roberto? Or is it Roberto Carlos? Carlos.
Roberto Carlos.
Okay. So
I
Roberto.
think he must have double entered because he's got two entries in open. I just wonder if this was supposed to be his antique. I don't know.
Could be.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I didn't notice that earlier.
They're
Yep.
both marked open.
Yeah, he might have mislabeled.
What should I do?
I'll go for it.
Just go for open. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So nice use of depth of field. I like the way he's really controlled the line or my line of focus. I like how the trees in the background like just totally disappear into kind of this, nice, like I hate to use the word bouquet, but it kind of like, drifts off a little bit. The statue stands out really nicely against the background. I like this sort of dappled light in this forest behind the statue. I feel like, and it's always hard for me to tell, like, but it feels like maybe a tiny bit more contrast, but the contrast kind of looks good on this screen. But yeah, I think there's a nice expression, there's a nice sort of emotion on the statue, and I like the way he's framed it. So it's kind of nice, simple, nice, very simple image. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, my curiosity is where you took this. I'm wondering if it's out there at the Johnson County Arboretum or.
Would like to have seen him. I would like to have seen him treat the chin a little bit different. The background highlight and the highlight on the chin merges together there for me and doesn't define itself.
It does seem like he could have burned that down, her chin down a little bit, so she could she could see that a little bit better. That's a very good critique. Anyone else? Okay. We're gonna ramble on.
Blown.
All right. So we've got street rides. I have to admit, when I first saw this, I thought it was in the junk category because I get so annoyed with birds. But then I realized it was open. So but I like what you're trying to do here. I like the contrast between, this road, the street. It's kind of light against the darkness of the birds. I do find it's a little distracting with the kind of the road that's been repaired, the potholes that have been repaired. Yeah. It might have been nice. I don't know if you could have gotten a cleaner shot because I'm not seeing an angle necessarily that you could have to maintain, the lines of the birds lined up, and kind of miss that. But maybe a little, and I don't even think depth of field would have solved this really. But maybe a different time of day. It seems like it's probably an overcast day. And it might have worked a little bit better, like if the road were a little bit, wasn't so Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, that's where it is.
I mean, not that we don't have like on the Kansas side, not that we don't have like, potholes, because we definitely do, but we don't have a lot of birds. So you probably couldn't have found a lot of birds in Johnson or like on the Kansas side. So, but yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's fun. And it's, I hope you didn't get on one of those dangerous things.
No.
Good. I guess you wouldn't be in our meeting if you had. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing.
Oh, I know. But now these were in the shadow of a building. I think I shot this earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
These are actually shadowed by the buildings probably across the street, because if I remember right, I'm facing toward the east a little bit with this shot. It was a bright day. I mean, it was a clear day. That's why the streets kind of blows out a little bit. So, but yeah, I started to do some of those potholes, and I thought, by the time I try to manipulate them out of there, it's going to look like I manipulated something out of there. So
yeah, sometimes you just have to go with it. I do like how kind of open shade kind of does kind of soften, it kind of gives you some nice contrast, but a little bit, but then like softens things a lot. It's good for, portraits, and it's good for things where you want to maintain a lot of detail. Does anyone else want to add something? Okay, off we go. All right. This is Windows. I definitely like all the repetition that's going on here. I like the repetition of the these windows, and it looks like I'm not sure if these are freight. I don't know if there had been an elevator or something, but on the doors, but they're definitely doors, not windows over here, which is really interesting. I like how the building, you know, how much detail there is in the building. I like these lines that are going up. These, and I'm not sure what they are, but they kind of give you a little bit of nice direction. And all of the details of the bricks. So like, yeah, there's a lot of nice repetition in here. I always wonder, like, you know, kind of always wonder about the time of day when people shoot things, you know, and kind of what the motivation is, like what time of day, you know, is, you know, people go out and shoot. Gary, is Gary here?
Yes, that's on West Bottoms, and I must say that's probably in the morning sometime, because the right-hand side of the picture would be toward the east, and the left-hand side would be left. So I see the shadows coming down a 45-degree angle there on some of the brick work and things. So I'm gonna say it's probably in the morning. It's an area down there that I've visited a number of times, and this is not an alley, but I kind of walk an alley right there, and I've gotten a lot of what I think is interesting shots out of the alley there. But this is kind of out in the open, right at the entrance to an alley.
What caught your eye? Like what kind of made you think you wanted to take a picture?
Well, again, I like the sunlight and shadows and contrast and repetitive nature of the windows, and I guess they probably are doors. I'm not sure. There's no signs of any elevator or anything at this point, so I'm not sure how they ever operated the lighter doors, I guess. You know, maybe they had, maybe they opened them up and used some type of big forklift or something to lift things into the building. I'm not sure. Because it doesn't seem to be any real signs of any structure that's been torn down there.
Anyone else want to add any comments or critiques?
I like your shadows from the fire escapes that go down across here. And at the very top, midway, and down at the bottom, you kind of get a little hint of the fire escape platform. But for the most part, your fire escapes are throwing those diagonal lines down across that entire image. And I love that.
Yeah, I think the contrast between the black windows and the doors is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, nice job. Nice job to everyone, really. I mean, it's always such a pleasure to see what you guys are out there seeing. Okay, so let's start at honorable mention first. All right. I thought this was the strongest category. So this one for me was the hardest to judge. So there were a lot of really nice images, and it was you guys made it hard for me to choose. But honorable mention goes to our Canotex gas pump, Dennis Lindell. Unfortunately, he's not here. Third place goes to Good to Be the King. Tom Wedbush.
Yes.
Okay. And second place goes to Roberto Carlos with Building. And the arrow went straight to my heart. James Schultz. Really fun picture. But like I said, it was really hard judging. You guys make it tough. Did everyone enjoy this category? I guess it's whatever. It's a sort of fielder's choice. Or is it harder? Is it harder with open?
Yeah, open can really kind of give you a free hand to go out and just grab anything you want or you see. I have a lot of fun just shooting stuff for open. I've got, I don't know how many images sitting on the sideline was waiting to be used for an open entry at some point. It's just, when do I want to use those? I was going to tell you too that in light of that 1930 Model A truck, the other one I found in a very similar state of disrepair and decay was a 1956 Ford F-150 that I found over here in Missouri. And I'll probably end up using it for an open at some point. But I tell you, I walked between them two trucks for I don't know how long, and finally used the older one. But yeah, the other truck is actually got trees growing up through the middle of it.
Yeah, I like the open category because sometimes when you go shoot for, a specific subject, you see other stuff and you take pictures while you're out. And the other is you shot one for a particular subject, but it didn't quite work, or you found a better one later. You're like, oh, well, I'll just use that one for an open later. So.
Yeah.
Are you still doing flat multiple exposures of cars?
I haven't in a while, but yeah, I still do that on occasion. It's been a couple of years since I've done one though. So
Those are super fun.
Yeah,
I remember this from last time.
Yeah, I work for a company that owns a bunch of aircraft, so I'm wanting to get out and do some airplanes at some point soon.
There you go.
Can't wait to see him.
So what do you guys think of the antique / junk category?
I like it.
Well, there's an abundance of junk and antiques around to shoot, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Self-portraits are not included in that, right?
Right.
Yeah, self-portrait.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't know how many times I go out and look at something, I think, hey, that'd be good.
I thought about that.
But yeah, like you say, there's an abundance of stuff around, even right here in town, that you can find. And I'd actually forgot about that old truck. So I was looking back through some old photos for something else, and I saw that. I thought, hey, that'll work. So I used that, and then, but yeah, I almost went down on 26th Street down there off the Kansas River and Kansas Avenue, what we always called Junkyard Alley when I was a kid. I did go down there looking around, but all those junkyards have pretty much turned into just a scrap metal, bunch of scrap metal yards where they just grind up the stuff. So there's just piles I mean, big piles of just ground up remains of whatever they took in there to scrap out. Very few cars left down there. Most of it is so unrecognizable. It's just a big heap of tangled up metal.
Guys, I gotta go. I got a dog here that I think needs to go outside. So
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna take off too, folks.
Julie, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much, you
you.
guys.
Bye.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad I could join you today.
always enjoy your commentary, Julie. I still have not forgotten that deal you did for us several years ago when you went over, and I forget the exact terminology used with the people, but they were basically the gypsies where you stayed with.
Yeah, the Roma. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That was so interesting. You know, that'd be so cool to do that. I also like your artist in residence. I think you went to Alaska.
That was so fun, but so hard.
Bet.
You really don't get a lot of exercise using your mouse. So I was really struggling on those not canoes, kayaks, but that was really fun.
There's another artist in residence program that opened up here in the last couple of years out here in Kansas. It's down
Is
by
that the tall grass?
Well, it's not far from there. It's sponsored by the Volland store.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm thinking the town is close to Alma. I get emails from, they have certain little cabins they've set up out there for the artists to come down and stay in. I don't know what their waiting list is, but you're actually you're very close to the tall grass prairie. You're out in the Flint Hills. I can imagine the opportunities out there has got to be phenomenal. And, you know, with that, they want you to produce some work that they can use, because the Ball and Store actually has a gallery, and they actually have artists come in, you know, to talk about their work, and they have programs down there quite a bit. Are you familiar with Reese Nichols real estate?
Mm-hmm.
I had her name on the tip of my tongue here. I forgot it, but the gal who's the Reese part of that business, her and her husband have run that real estate business, but she
Patty
runs
Reese.
Patty, thank you, Patty Reese. She's kind of like the I don't know. She's kind of like the drone behind all that goes on there. There's other people who actually manage it and do all the administrative work. But she bought this old store that was built back in the early 1900s, and she spent her money to rehab this old store. The roof in the first floor, the roof in the second floor, and the first floor fell into the basement. They gutted it.
Wow.
And they've turned that into one of the most beautiful galleries you've seen. The brick walls are still there. They've got the big picture windows out front. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful. I've been down there a few times. I actually took a tour down there once that was sponsored by the Volland store, where they took us out to properties and got us access to these old farms, these old buildings that normally you don't get access to because we're on private property. And Patty Reese's home down there that her and her husband bought and restored, an old stone house. It's beautiful. That was part of our tour.
Oh,
And I got some
neat.
great photos down there of their property, and they've got a barn on that place that has got to be 80 by 120 feet. It's huge. But they've got a lot of stone buildings, outbuildings, and down there, but yeah, that's another place here at some point. Maybe the artist in residence thing might trip my buzz to go out there and spend some time out in the Flint Hills to just see what I can find out there, because that is my favorite place in Kansas, is the Flint Hills.
Is that at Council Groves?
No, it's not Council Groves. I think the nearest town down there is Alma, if I'm right on.
Yeah.
I think that's real
Okay.
close to it.
Alma is north of that and just south of 70.
Yeah, it's south of 7 definitely, and it's kind of ways out there by itself, but that's just a beautiful area out there. yeah, I've got a lot of photos I've taken out there. I took a second tour out there. And it was, I forget where all we went on that one, but we went to a lot of places. It was after a flood that went through the Flint Hills out there a couple of years ago. Then last year they had a self-guided driving tour. They give you a map and it had places they'd highlighted. There are places you can go. So my wife and I, we took the trip. We spent the whole day out there driving through the Flint Hills, going to some of these places, and oh my God, we loved it. It's just gorgeous. I mean, I learned some back roads that I did not know existed, which are now part of my GPS navigator that I use in the car. So if I want to, I can go back out there because I want to go out there now and shoot some drone video so I can get some shots of these roads and aerial shots, things like that. Saw the most beautiful home out there that is privately owned. It looks like a big, oh, I forget what you call the style of home, but it looks like something you could find in one of the older neighborhoods here in Kansas City. It's a 2-story home. It's huge, immaculate, nice big garage and workshop behind it. And it was for sale when we were out there because the people that bought it, restored it, and lived there almost went crazy because of the absolute isolation. At night, nobody, no lights, no nothing. There's nobody that lives, I think, within 10, 12 miles of this house. It's gorgeous. And you know, you're thinking to yourself, man, take me out there. But like these people, after about 6 months of that, you might start bouncing off the walls because you are isolated. And that's a beauty of it. I started doing some night photography with the infrared camera. So I'm shooting infrared stills and videos. I'm still playing with some of that. So that'd be another place I'd like to go out there and just spend the whole night and just go bonkers with my stuff and just see what kind of stuff I can capture out there.
Well, guys,
He proves it.
call it quits.
All right. See you later, James.
James, you take care.
Take care. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Good to
take
see you
off
guys.
too. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Well, have a great
Rest of the
great
day.
time. Great rest of the day. There's not much left.
Yeah, no, there's not, but I got some more out there in another bottle.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll tell Todd hello.
All righty, yeah. We
right.
would like to see him, but hey,
We'll see him soon enough.
You'll see him
Huh?
soon enough for sure.
Oh yeah,
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Julie.
Thank you. You take care.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.